What does 2021 have in store for the world? Daily reported cases of COVID-19 on the rise, a death toll that surpassed 250,000 Americans and that is forecast to reach over 400,000 by 2021, a fearsome double-dip recession, the crash of the US dollar, and an incumbent president unwilling to admit defeat, which could send us into a greater divide than ever before, are just some of the horrifying news that 2020 has thrown our way. But there may still be more to come. Join us in today's video as we uncover everything that 2021 has in store for us, from geopolitics, innovation in medicine, the economy and the financial markets, to entertainment, tech innovations, the final unfolding of the pandemic, and the real possibility of World War. It'll be a trip to the probable future that you won't want to miss. But before we begin, please remember to hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and tick that bell icon for more updates on what's to come. Technological innovations in 2021. These are the 6 most important innovations we'll be seeing next year in terms of technology. Number 1, 5G connectivity, edge computing, and the distributed cloud. Cloud computing was a complete revolution when it first came out, but next year the complete rollout of 5G connectivity will enable the next stage in computing called edge computing, an infrastructure where remote computing is moved much closer to an end user, drastically reducing latency and increasing performance. Number 2, artificial intelligence engineering. AI is already the trend in 2020, but experts predict that next year we'll see a boom in AI engineering companies dedicated primarily to helping other companies integrate AI into their processes to get the most value out of it. Number 3, extended reality. Augmented and virtual reality have been around for a while, but 2 things make 2021 different. First, 5G and edge computing will enable VR and AR as a service, reducing users' need for computational power at home. Second, the pandemic created the need to interact from a distance, so VR is now a necessity more than a luxury or an entertainment option. Number 4, robotics and hyper-automation. In 2021, we'll see a rampant increase of automation of all company processes, not only in manufacturing, but all processes, something made possible by a combination of advanced robotics, better connectivity, and AI implementation. Number 5, Internet of Behaviors. 2020 saw a boom in Internet of Things, IoT, but next year we'll see the birth of IOB, in other words, using data collection and streaming through the internet to change people's behaviors. Number 6, milestones in space exploration. 2021 marks SpaceX's Starship doing its first orbital flight, keeping in schedule for its first unmanned mission to Mars in 2024. NASA's Artemis 1 mission, which will eventually take us back to the moon, is also expected to launch in November 2021. Medical innovations for 2021. If you're hoping to see a COVID-19 vaccine as the first item on the list, you'll have to keep watching till the end because that topic deserves a section of its own. In the meantime, here are 5 major medical breakthroughs that are expected to come in 2021, according to the Cleveland Clinic. Number 1, gene therapy for hemoglobinopathies. Number 2, universal hepatitis C treatment. Number 3, novel drug for primary progressive multiple sclerosis. Number 4, smartphone-connected pacemaker devices. Number 5, increased access to telemedicine through novel practice and policy changes. This last one is a direct consequence of the coronavirus pandemic that triggered the policy changes needed to allow online consultations to be recognized by health insurance companies. The financial and economic forecast for 2021. So far, we've seen that the 2020 pandemic is the single most important force that's shaping the future, and that defines what 2021 has in store for us. This couldn't be more true than for the world economy, and the outlook is grim at best. Number 1, a recession that may lead to depression. Economists are hoping for a V-shaped recovery to the second wave of the coronavirus, but that all depends on finding a vaccine fast before another wave hits. If this doesn't happen, it's more than likely that the economy will keep slowing down, eventually going from recession to depression starting 2021. Number 2, China and a new financial world order. Many analysts have long predicted that the 21st would be China's century, and so far, they seem to have hit the bullseye. Today, China is using the coronavirus to increase its influence, much in the same way that the US did at the end of World War II, which resulted in almost 100 years of a dollar-dominated global economy. China was the first to roll out on a massive scale its own digital currency, the DCEP, and is leveraging its economic and military influence to take on the dollar as the go-to currency for global trade. There are more ways in which the coronavirus is changing the financial world order, so keep watching because we'll get back to this later in the video. Number 3, the collapse of the US dollar and the birth of the digital dollar. As the digital yuan gets stronger, it seems that the US dollar is getting weaker, and experts agree that it could lose a third of its value by the end of 2021 compared to other currencies. In response to this and to China's digital yuan, the US government is pushing forward to release its own digital currency, the digital dollar, which could see its debut as early as January 2021. Number 4, a crash in the housing market. For different reasons, the housing market has so far been impervious to the events of 2020, with home prices steadily rising. However, as the bubble inflates, the end of the CARES Act could be the needle that makes it pop, and the end to the moratoriums on evictions and foreclosures will mean a massive drop in home prices that will likely take the financial markets down with it, like what happened in 2008. Number 5, Bitcoin could reach $100,000. With the collapse of the dollar and many looking for ways to hedge against inflation, gold is projected to go up in the coming years, but experts think that it will be Bitcoin used as a store of value that will really skyrocket. Both fundamental and technical analysts agree that Bitcoin will eventually reach the six-figure mark, but many of them are convinced that the current events will make this happen before the end of 2021. As proof of that, Bitcoin rallied up by $7,000 in about a month of time, and as of making this video, is already testing levels above its all-time high of December 2017. Entertainment in 2021. It's not all doom and gloom when it comes to 2021, as it also brings a very diverse movie premiere schedule. Warner Brothers just recently inked the deal with HBO Max to stream many, if not all, of its new releases in 2021, beginning day one of the movie premiere. Matrix 4 is one of these movies. Here is what to expect starting Friday, January 1st. Number 1, Escape Room 2. The psychological horror film starring Taylor Russell and Logan Miller is set to come out in early January. Number 2, Marry Me. For romantic comedy enthusiasts, this J-Lo flick will be released on May 14th. Number 3, Morbius. The upcoming vampire movie starring Jared Leto is set to premiere on March 19th and has more than one fan on the edge of their seat. Number 4, Ghostbusters Afterlife. Throwing in a little nostalgia for most older millennials, this sequel to the franchise is coming in June. Number 5, F9. The 10th addition to the Fast and Furious series starring Vin Diesel is more exciting and action-packed than ever, and it's coming to theaters in May 2021. Other upcoming blockbusters include Monster Hunter with Mila Jovovich, Black Widow with Scarlett Johansson, Top Gun: Maverick with Tom Cruise, Black Adam with Dwayne Johnson, and Dune with Timothée Chalamet, among others. It is definitely a year to look forward to, especially if we find a vaccine. But will we? Keep watching to find out. The political landscape of the United States. There's a lot that 2021 brings in terms of politics for the US. Number 1, a possible new president from the left. After a controversial first term, Trump's re-election bid is in jeopardy, and unless the Supreme Court decides to step in, the country may have a left-wing liberal Democratic president, Joe Biden, and Kamala Harris leading the next 4 years. This will surely be a change in direction from the last 4 years. Number 2, the runoffs for the Senate and the 2021 U.S. elections. January 5, 2021 marks the election day for the Georgia runoffs between the Republican Senators David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler and Democrats Jon Ossoff and Raphael Warnock. This election will finally define the color of the Senate. There will also be several mayoral and state elections by the end of the year. Are we on the brink of a new Cold War? Even though Biden is nowhere near as belligerent as Trump when it comes to dealing with the international community, he is taking a hard stance on China. He'll probably use diplomacy to put a leash on Xi Jinping's plans of global domination, but no clear strategy is set in stone yet, as he has referred to the Chinese president as a thug. So will things escalate? It depends on China and what it does, as we're about to see next. China could invade Taiwan in 2021. The Taiwanese have been preparing for a Chinese invasion ever since the Kuomintang lost the Civil War and moved to the island. China's recent military movements and Xi Jinping's statements claiming that a reunification is imminent inevitably point to a Chinese invasion of Taiwan in the coming months. US is among the few nations that acknowledge Taiwan as an independent nation. Would an attack from China on Taiwan manage to pull the US into a war in the South China Sea? That's even scarier than another wave of coronavirus unless we find a vaccine. Which brings us to the most important development in 2021. COVID-19 vaccine. Will we see the end of the pandemic in 2021? We could be headed for armed conflict in Asia, but the pandemic is still the top priority on everybody's mind. An effective vaccine is still our one hope of really containing this godforsaken virus, and while we won't see it widely distributed in 2020, 2021 may just be the year that we do. According to the New York Times Coronavirus Vaccine Tracker, as of November 24th, there were 55 candidate vaccines in human clinical trials and over 80 promising candidates in preclinical trials. While these numbers may sound encouraging, it's almost certain that most of them will be discarded, as most usually are historically. Of all the 55 candidates, only 13 have reached a Phase 3 large-scale efficiency test, and only a select few vaccines around the world will eventually have the full approval by the end. And at the earliest, it will be 2021 before they are ready for mass production and distribution worldwide. It's also essential to continue monitoring these vaccines to see that they don't have any harmful side effects in the long term. So there is hope. As of making this video, there are currently 6 vaccines in Phase 3 trials that have been approved for limited emergency use, and they include Pfizer RNA vaccine Germany, Moderna RNA vaccine United States, CanSino Bio viral vector vaccine China, Gamaleya Research Institute viral vector vaccine Russia, Wuhan and Beijing Institutes of Biological Products along with Sinopharm inactivated coronavirus vaccine China, Sinovac Biotech inactivated coronavirus vaccine China. While this is all very promising, it's important to remember that even if these vaccines were approved today, it will be a while before it can be produced in large enough quantities to immunize the world's population. So we likely won't see the end of the coronavirus for the most of 2021. How will you prepare for 2021? Will you be among the brave first to try out the newly approved vaccines for COVID-19? Leave a comment down below and join the discussion. If you want to go deeper into why China is hell-bent on taking over Taiwan and into what else the Red Dragon has been up to behind the curtain of the pandemic, don't miss these 2 videos that are popping up right now. You'll see what the current and incoming administrations plan to do to protect the United States' interest against the ever-growing threats of Chinese expansionism. Finally, don't miss the other video where we discuss how the coronavirus is changing the financial world order and what you can expect in the coming years. Thanks for watching.